We don't have to explain it. And so for all the things that have happened to me in the last few years, that one moment with a fan at a convention changed my life, because I felt like something I wrote made a difference to somebody. And I think you see that exponentially at Comic-Con, whether it's Robert Downey Jr. or it's a little guy like me, Tom Waltz, who writes a Little Turtles comic at IDW. You realize that when I'm sitting alone on my computer in my pajamas, writing my stories at 2 in the morning, it's not very glamorous. I still have trash day I gotta remember, all those things. That moment that was important to me when I had that little bit of writing time resonated with somebody else. And so I feel like if one person tells me that, maybe there's more. And I think that's why the actors take the time to come to these things, because they are just movies. You know what? They are just movies. These are just made up stories. I make them up, like I said, in my pajamas sometimes. But they aren't just movies, and they aren't just stories, because there's messages there, and there's meaning there, and it's different to everybody. And it's okay for it to be different to everybody. And I really feel like when I'm at Comic-Con, that's what you see. Just like Ted mentioned, cosplay. Some people want to dress like Winona Earp. Some people want to dress like the Hawk. My favorite guy is like, I'm older and a little bigger. I love Fat Batman. He's my favorite one. And you see him every year. Fat Batman is the greatest. I'm like, I can be Fat Batman. No problem, you know? And so this is I think, the importance of Comic-Con to this community, not just the comic community, but like I said, the culture community. It's a time for everybody to come together in a positive way, in a happy way, because they can't be anonymous unless they have a Batman mask. I mean, they can be a little anonymous, but they can't hide his gun. So, and now the disadvantage, as an aside, to living in San Diego during Comic-Con, is that you still gotta go home at night. I like to go, like, when we travel, we go to other conventions like Palm Springs, I can just stumble back to the hotel or catch a cab. But here, it's like, I still gotta get my kid to school the next day. So I'm getting home like at 3 in the morning sometimes, like, oh, I gotta get her to school, and I still gotta get down to that panel. So sometimes it's nice to not have it locally. And everybody, all of a sudden, I have nieces and nephews and step cousins and everybody I never talk to until it's Comic-Con. And then they wonder if I have any extra badges.
The extra badges for those of us that live in San Diego or in comic business is definitely a thing. So I have everybody from my barber to my dentist, people who are really not even interested in pop culture, but they just want to be part of the scene. It's such a big deal here in San Diego. So luckily the folks at Comic-Con are quite nice to us about that. So all right, so let's open this up to questions. We have great panelists here
Who's got some questions? Who's got a question or any question? Yes, Ryan.
I have many questions, but I'll try to give other people a chance. I'll start with you, Mr. Smith. I love that you're incorporating the park after dark concept in the museum. I think that's great. I know a lot of museums try to do that, but it sounds like you're going to try to do that more than just one Friday out of the month, so that's awesome. The tagline, curated by you, another great idea. Do you and your team envision that being one of the rotating exhibits, like maybe quarterly at the museum, where the fans kind of curate a specific artist or a theme?
Sure. The question was, do we imagine that we're going to have rotating exhibits? We did a survey earlier in the year. We sent a survey instrument out to 24,000 people on our database, and we got a huge response to that. And one of the things we did a word search on all of this response that we got, and the most common word that came back from our audience was rotating. And that, as I said earlier, we want this whole thing to be driven by the desires of our fans. And that made me really happy, because it said the fans are already where we were kind of at mentally, which is, we need this can't be a static museum. There will be some exhibits that are there permanently, but a large proportion of our floor space we do imagine is going to be used for rotating exhibits. So there is actually, you're probably aware, there is an international touring exhibit circuit. There are exhibits out there right now, Star Wars and Star Trek and Harry Potter and Jurassic Park and things like that. We will have enough space to be able to accommodate some of those international class touring exhibits. But we'll also be creating exhibits ourselves. One of the things we've been working on, for example, Ted mentioned Jack Kirby, the king of comics. we wanted to do the ultimate exhibit on Jack Kirby because the influence of that guy, not just on the world of comics and comic art, but frankly on popular culture and the lives of millions of American people were influenced by this very, very interesting person. So one of the things we'll be doing is actually creating our own exhibits that will debut at the Comic-Con Museum and then maybe travel to other destinations around the world. So keeping the place rotating and vibrant is an absolute part of the plan, yeah.
All right, well, we have a great musical act that's coming up next, so we have time for one more question. So, yes.
On Waltz, you said you've been on like writing journals for about 7 years. How do you keep it fresh for that long?
Well, one thing is coming from the Marines. One of the things that I think attracted me to comics is I played sports in high school and not very good, but I did play them. But I always the team aspect. So it's not just me. There's a great team. We have an awesome editor, Bobby Kernell, and we were very fortunate when we got the Turtles license. One of the original creators of the Turtles, Kevin Eastman, came on board to help out. So he said, "Look, I've been away from the Turtles for a while. If you want me to help out with covers or plotting, I'd love to be involved." And so that was probably actually the catalyst for me because I wasn't really involved when we got the Turtles license early on. And then when Kevin came on board, then we decided, look, let's get him a co-writer, somebody that can help him out, and he'll do some more plotting. And that's when Ted and at the time the editor was Chris Wilde, they invited me to pitch. They said, we know you like the property, maybe you want to pitch. Do you want to try something with Kevin? And I said, yeah, sure, I'd like to. And like I said, I mentioned the reincarnation aspect. That was something I wanted to change. That was something I wasn't sharing with anybody because I didn't think I would be involved. I thought I'd be a fan of the book. So that was my opportunity to show it to Ted and Chris and Nickelodeon, who owns the license, as well as Kevin. And I hadn't met Kevin at the time. And so Kevin, if anybody is aware, is like a rock star in this industry. Very famous guy and beloved in the industry because of Turtles and Heavy Metal Magazine and other things. But I hadn't met him, so you make assumptions, right? I've been lucky to work with some big stars since I've been IW. One of the first people I worked with was Gene Simmons. Gene's on a whole other level sometimes. I like Gene, but Gene is Gene. So that's a whole other kind of celebrity. And so I just assumed, well, I met this rock star, this guy's gonna be the same way. And if you ever get an opportunity to meet Kevin, who actually lives in San Diego, he's probably the sweetest, nicest person you could possibly meet in the world. And so he had a pitch, I had a pitch, I showed it to him. I was terrified because I thought, how dare I show something to the creator of the Turtles? And to his credit, Kevin said, I like this better. We need to go with this. I want to be part of what you're doing. So right then I knew we had the right people involved. I felt comfortable. So having a good team helps. But there's another aspect to it. Like I said, the person that came to me to talk to me about the teleportation thing and the spirit thing, I learned early on writing, I got rejected a lot. And if you're going to get any kind of entertainment business, you better have thick skin. Because you get rejected even after you're established, and I consider myself established and a professional at this point. I can still get rejected internally at the office. It happens, and it's okay. That's just part of the process. But I used to try to do superhero pro stories, and I would do them to this online magazine. I kept getting rejected, and I couldn't understand because I felt like I'm a good writer. I don't know why I'm getting rejected. And the editor of the magazine wrote to me directly, which was priceless, to actually get a direct contact. And he said, "Stop worrying about the powers," because I was writing all these superheroes. He goes, "The powers are boring." And that sounds weird, doesn't it, for superheroes? Because powers are part of the setting. If the story's all about the powers, it's the most boring story you can tell. Worry about the characters, and then the powers are just the icing on top. Establish the characters, and then go from there. And so I didn't get it at first. I sat down and started to rewrite, and I said, I'm gonna test myself. I'm gonna not give this character powers to the end of the story, right? And that's important for how to keep it fresh. So in the one short story I was writing, I kept the exciting stuff, quote unquote, to the end of the story. And that was the first story that I ever got accepted. And then I got it. With the Turtles, writing 86 issues, one, they're just fun characters. So it's easy to love it, and there's just a huge ensemble cast. I mean, we got people in Dimension X, in alleys, undersea, in space. It's awesome. So there's so many things to play with, and there's so many cool things that have come before. But if I always remember, I always tell people this, have you ever been in a sword fight? No? You ever been in an alley crime fighting? You might have been out there. I don't know, Canadians are sneaky sometimes. I live in Michigan, I know. But, you ever been to Windsor? But the thing is that here's the thing. None of us have probably done that. If any of us have, that's the exception to the rule. But I have sisters that I've argued with, you know, and I have a mom and a dad that sometimes I didn't always agree with. So do the Turtles. And that at the core is what's kept the Turtles going for so long. There are 4 brothers that are struggling to live in a world where they're not accepted. And by God, if that's not timely now, then nothing is. And they're trying to not only be accepted and survive, but they also want to thrive, just like everybody else. So for me, the Turtles stay fresh because we always keep that in mind first, and then every once in a while they punch somebody in the nose. You know, and that's okay, because that comics is a visual medium, all the way back to Kirby. There's got to be excitement, but what's interesting about Captain America isn't the shield, although that's cool. He's a man out of time. To me, that's the most interesting thing about him, that he is a man out of time that wants to be, he has ideals about America that are antiquated, that he wants to bring so desperately into this world now, but they don't always fit. And maybe his ideals from that time aren't always correct, right? That's the coolest thing about Captain America. And I think for me, that's the thing that keeps it fresh is finding a way to keep the punching moments out here and fill in those blanks that everybody else can relate to here. And then when I get there, then that's the payoff. Plus I get a check.
All right, so thank you very much. Let's have a round of applause for the panel.
Thank you so much to the panelists. While Violet, Rose, and Vince set up for their show, we're going to have some music. I invite everybody to come back and see if you've won the silent auction. Elaine and I will assist you. So thanks again, thanks everybody, and keep reading fun.